Morrison, and you're listening to Low Season Traveller Insider Guides. This week I talked to Warren Pearson, who is actually a member of Low Season Traveller, and we talk all about South Africa in the low seasons, with particular reference to Cape Town. Warren and I actually recorded this podcast some while ago, and it was before I had a nice microphone, so ignore all the rustles and the bustles, but honestly, listening back to this podcast, I've fallen in love with the destination once more. It's an utterly brilliant podcast, if I do say so myself. I know I'm not allowed to have favourites, but I think this might be it. So I am just going to let you listen and just appreciate Warren's passion. And, at the end of the episode, you'll 100% see why he is with us at Low Season Traveller. Hi, Warren. Thank you so much for coming on Low Season Traveller podcast.
Hey Anna, thanks man, good to be here.
So today we're talking all about Cape Town, which is where you live, and I thought we'd start by setting the scene like we always do. And if you were to step outside your front door, what can you see, what can you hear, and what can you smell?
Well, let me set the scene properly. So I'm actually about an hour outside of Cape Town.
Okay.
I live on a wine farm, so I'm very fortunate in that sense that I can drink a lot of wine, but got nothing to do with the winemaking. I see trees, there's birds going, it's, it's a lovely environment to live in. And, I've got the beach that's literally 20 minutes away from me. I've got the mountain behind my house where we have seen leopard tracks before. So there's leopards up there in the mountains. It's pretty spectacular. I mean, I think we take it for granted a lot of the time, and I think it's good to sort of bring yourself down to earth and just go, this is where we live. So it's a beautiful spot.
Amazing. It sounds really peaceful, actually, the way you describe it.
It is peaceful. Where I am, it is very peaceful. I mean, I'm very fortunate. I don't live in the city itself. I don't live in any of the suburbs, the suburbs are relatively peaceful, but the hub and the buzz of the sort of the downtown city area is I don't have that noise. Yeah. I think if I was in my 20s, I probably would be in that area.
There's a time and a place for everything, isn't there?
Exactly. I like my peace and quiet now.
I don't blame you. So can you give us like an overview of Cape Town? Like, what are its USPs? Why should low season travellers come to your destination?
I think Cape Town's it's actually quite an easy sell if I think about it. I mean, why do people want to come to Cape Town? And it's highlighted all over the world. It's won so many awards. Table Mountain is obviously the big sort of statuesque sort of beautiful thing that everyone wants to get up to. And we've got oceans, we've got mountains, we've got winelands, we've got unbelievable culture, we've got just complete wilderness areas and wild areas where people can go and escape to. And from an outdoor activity, you always see people running and mountain biking, and they're always outside. It's an outdoor culture. It's scenically stunning area. I mean, the coastal drives around the peninsula are really, really beautiful. And I mean, I haven't been to all of them around the world, but a lot of people say that it is probably one of the best scenic coastal drives in the world.
That's quite a big claim.
Well, yeah, I know it is. It's a big claim, but I'll take it.
So you talk about it all being like outdoor pursuits, which obviously now more than ever is really important. What are the low season months in Cape Town? What kind of effects do they have? Do you have any particularly bad weather, or is the weather good all year round?
So basically our low season months are our winter, and that would be pretty much end of March to around September, pushing October. Although you have to be careful of the Easter holidays. The Easter holidays, we do get quite a few people come down to Cape Town. But it's winter, and it's Northern Hemisphere summer. So it is a fantastic time to actually come to Cape Town when all the Northern Hemisphere schools on holiday and out, but people avoid it. I don't know why. They don't like coming here in our winter.
No, well, especially like from because I'm in England, like that sounds ideal. You come over to your winter and it's actually going to be warm. You're going to get some sunshine.
There we go. Exactly.
Just to show listeners now, I'm sat here in a massive wool jumper and you're there in short sleeves, and I can see the sun outside.
I know.
Okay, so what would you consider to be the main benefits of coming to Cape Town in the low seasons?
There's so many. I'll be honest with you, and it's if you had to ask any Cape Townian, they would probably agree with me and probably give me a whole bunch more. For me, I think one of the biggest highlights would be the whale season. The whale season starts in around sort of July. Every year it differs, obviously. We've got no control over wildlife.
Yeah.
But typically the southern right whales, they come up from the Antarctic, they come into the bays and the sort of the inland, literally close to the shore. And I mean, there's one place very close to where I live that it's reputed to have the best land-based whale watching in the world. And I've been there standing on the rocks, and literally not even 30 meters from me, there's a southern right whale in her calf, and I'm standing on the rock. So, whale watching is a highlight, and for me, it's a phenomenal time to come. Is our low season. Yeah.
Yeah, talking more about whales. So, what actually happens? You said you see them on the rocks. Do they come out of the water and then?
No. I'm on the rocks.
Oh, okay.
I'm on the rocks, and they're literally 30 meters in the water.
I was going to say, I didn't think whales came out of the water.
We got special whales down here. They come out of the water.
Yeah, come to Cape Town. The whales can fly.
Exactly.
On the flip side to the advantages of travelling in the low seasons, are there any disadvantages? Because we kind of have to cover it all and make sure that people know as much as they can about the destination before they travel there.
Absolutely. And I think if I go back one step, if you don't mind, so you said there are many advantages to traveling in the low season, and the whales are just part of it.
Yeah.
To me, the waters are warmer actually during the winter months, believe it or not, so for swimming. So typically we have a cold sort of current that runs around here, but the water's actually warmer in winter. The spectacular blue day skies are just unreal. Between these cold fronts that come through, there's no crowds. As you said, you get rain, you get greenery, and you get flowers, and it's spectacular from a scenic perspective. It's beautiful. The mountains around us sometimes have snow on them, which just really highlights it. So there's many reasons and advantages to coming here. Why people have not come here, I think it comes down to one. There are a few, but I think it comes down to one major point, and that is because primarily agents around the world, and I'm being very careful here when I sort of bunch everyone into a bracket here, but a lot of people are too scared, I think, to sell Cape Town in the winter months. And we have a Mediterranean climate. It's a winter rainfall. We have these massively huge cold fronts that come up from the Antarctic, but they last for maybe 2, 3, sometimes 4 days in length of rain. It's cold, but then once they're gone, you have this incredible weather. I mean, I remember speaking to Jed from Low Season earlier this year, and I was sitting like this, basically in a short sleeve t-shirt in the middle of my winter. It was blue skies outside. I think it was 25 degrees centigrade. It was spectacular.
Yeah.
So I think it basically comes down to people are too scared to send people there, to say, well, if it does rain, then what do you do? And let's just send them in the summertime. It's easier.
Yeah. You're limiting your experience, aren't you, if you're only going by the weather, because you can never predict the weather. You could go in the summer and get bad weather. But you talk about being scared, and one issue that I did want to touch on briefly was, as an outsider, there is a kind of Cape Town's got a reputation for being a little bit unsafe. So if you read any blogs or anything about traveling to the country, they always say, don't carry any valuables on you, keep your whereabouts, make sure that you've got your eyes on your stuff. Can you provide some clarity over that? Do you think that's a problem, or is that advice sound? Do people need to be aware of that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be quite objective here, and I think that if you look at any large city in the world, you've got to be careful where you go. You've got to be careful how you behave. And there's places that you go and there's places that you don't go. And I lived in London for a year, and I was more nervous living in London than I was back home here. I've walked through New York City and I felt very awkward in certain circumstances. So, I think you got to know what to do, how to do, live like a local, basically, and it's behave like a local as well. It's, don't go into these weird and wonderful dark places, or I don't know, just have some common sense at the end of the day. I think that's what it comes down to. Common sense is not so common, unfortunately, but it's something that, we have our problems. I won't lie to you, there are issues from, we have a massive, the socio-economic issue in South Africa is probably one of the biggest sort of hurdles that we need to climb over, and we have the haves and we have the have-nots, and there's a big divide between that, and you need to sort of manage that carefully and watch that. And for me, if you're bringing people here, if there's people traveling here, it's if people see that people want to come here, they want to learn about them. It's the same old thing. Is just learn about the culture, learn about the people, and then people actually say, "Hang on, we actually want to look after these people that are coming here from around the world," and it's benefiting everyone at the end of the day. So, yeah, it's. We have our issues, like every country, like every city, and unfortunately, bad news sells. Nothing ever gets told about the good stuff that's really happening.
Yeah. Well, going on to good stuff then, can you think of any festivals or events that take place in the winter months that you would recommend?
I had to think hard about this. I'll say the Cape Town Funny Festival would be one. We have the Franschhoek Bastille Festival, which is, Franschhoek is one of the winemaking areas, the wine regions. Franschhoek basically means French corner. The French Huguenots, when they came to South Africa, the Dutch settlers at the time pushed them into this little corner. It used to be called Olifantshoek, which is Elephant's Corner, because the elephants used to come into that area, and then it became French Corner. And they celebrate Bastille Day, and they have the Bastille Festival. It's literally like you could be in France. It really is. It's phenomenal.
Oh, amazing.
And then, I'd say we have, there's a place called the Norvell Foundation, which is an art gallery, and they have these concerts. I don't know how that's going to happen post-COVID, though. We'll see how that works. And our Two Oceans Aquarium, they have what's known as After Dark. You can go there after dark, and they even do sleep outs in the aquarium, which often is phenomenal. You sleep with these massive, big sort of walls. A typical aquarium where you have this sort of wall to ceiling or floor to ceiling sort of wall of fish coming past you. People and kids bring their sleeping blankets, and families can come and sleep out there. It's pretty spectacular, and that happens in the low season. So
wow.
A lot of cool local stuff that happens.
Yeah, that sounds really magical, actually. Like, I could imagine as a kid as well, like sleeping in an aquarium. That's probably one of the coolest things you could do.
Such a hit. It is such a hit for kids. It really is. And
so, as a local, what would be your top 3 experiences?
Wow. I'll definitely say whale watching. I'll start with whale watching. And I've been on many whale watching boats, and I see them often from where I live. They're literally 20 minutes away. As I said, I'm in awe whenever I see a whale and watch them breaching and watch them sort of so close in. It's spectacular. So definitely whale watching. I would say sea kayaking in False Bay, which is phenomenal. So if you're lucky, there's dolphins, penguins. Some people I know have even been really lucky, and they've got to see orcas from that. You can also do a full moon paddle and watch the full moon rise over the mountains in the distance. So from where sort of you are in Cape Town, you're in False Bay, and if you look east, you look at this mountain range called the Hottentots Holland Mountain Range, and you get this full moon that rises above that over the ocean, which is spectacular. And you can do a sea kayak like that at night, which is mind-blowing.
Amazing.
And then I was probably say the last one, once again, I'm going more on the nature side of things here, but I would probably say the Namaqualand flowers. Now, Namaqualand is an area just to the north of Cape Town. It's a region probably about anywhere between an hour and a half to 2 hours drive from Cape Town. And between August and September every year, these flowers, these wildflowers erupt. I mean, you get carpets of just different colors of flowers, and they go on for miles. And the locals will know about it. A lot of international people that visitors come down, they have no idea about it. And I would definitely say that's a highlight for me. If you go Google Namaqualand flowers, you'll know what I'm talking about, and you'll see it. It's pretty spectacular.
Oh, amazing. I'll leave a link to the photo.
Once again, it's very difficult to judge the time. So yeah, it's, if you're in the region, if you're in the area, and you ask the locals, are the flowers flowering in Namaqualand? Yes, they are. Take a drive, go.
Yeah. Is it easy? You talk about driving to places. Is it easy for people to rent cars and actually get that kind of mobility to go and do that kind of thing?
Absolutely. So renting a car in Cape Town is very, very easy.
Also, as well as your experiences, what tips do you have for our low season travelers?
I would say in Cape Town's low season is go and enjoy the markets. We've got so many indoor and outdoor markets, and obviously outdoor is weather permitting, but even indoor, there's some spectacular indoor markets around Cape Town. And then probably one of my highlights would be the eateries. There's eateries and coffee houses with these spectacularly warm, cozy fireplaces. And Cape Town's a bit of a coffee snob city. It's there's so many of these new coffee houses that are coming up all over the place. And you literally walk around a corner and there's an equally good one if you just think you've been to the best one. So definitely spend some time with the locals in these eateries and the coffee houses. And then once again, it's the flower season. You head up 1 hour to West Coast National Park and go and enjoy the flowers, because it really is. It's just get out of Cape Town. So Cape Town's spectacular, but there's so much more actually quite close to Cape Town that you can go and explore.
Perfect. And are there any local delicacies?
There's now something called a Gatsby. Now, if there any true sort of proper Cape Townian foods, I'd say it's a Gatsby. It originated in the Cape Flats. Now, the Cape Flats is an area of land that's very flat, hence the word Cape Flats, and dates back to literally the mid-70s. And technically, it's a large submarine-style sandwich that comes with various fillings. The reality is that it's crammed full of a variety of meats, chips, sauces, and costs nothing. I mean, literally costs nothing. And I can guarantee you that most people won't finish it because of its size. It's just so big.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. Next time you're in Cape Town, we'll do that.
Absolutely. Okay, so just before we finish up, have you got anything else you'd like to add that we've not mentioned in today's podcast?
Man,
we have covered quite a lot.
We have. Just get to Cape Town. I mean, I think a lot of people don't realize is how well Cape Town's done on the world scene when you talk about tourism and things that it's done. And, just in the last 2 years, the awards that Cape Town has received, and this is not focusing on any season, this is just as a city. It was voted one of the best cities in the world in 2019. It was voted the greatest city on earth in 2018. It beat 45,000 entrants. Best destination in Africa, the World Tourism Awards. One of the best tech cities in the world. It's got the world's leading festival and events destinations. Cape Town International Airport has been voted the best in Africa. I can keep going on and on. Cultural Destination of the Year awards. Most affordable long-haul destination. So there we go. You've got to come to Cape Town. You've got to come.
Well, hopefully we've provided people with enough information so we've got the brains ticking and they can start doing their holiday planning for when the world opens up again. I know I certainly am. It just sounds incredible, from whales to full moons to giant sandwiches. You can't really go wrong, can you?
And I've only touched sort of the tip of the iceberg, really. Yeah. It's so much here that you got to come and spend time and really spend time. People say, how long do you spend here? And I'm like, well, how much time do you have? Because really you could spend 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, not just 2 days.
Yeah, amazing. Oh, well, thank you so much, Warren. It's been really, really interesting.
My pleasure, Anna.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ciao. Bye.
Thank you so much to Warren for coming on this week's podcast, for being so honest and candid, because that's exactly what we stand for here at Low Season Traveller, to make sure you get a full overview of every destination that you want to travel to. And I tell you, Cape Town has just moved to the top of my list of places that I want to go when travel is fully allowed. And if I'm going to give you a little sneak preview for the next episode, it's even better than this one. So make sure you're following, subscribing and liking everything that Low Season Traveller has to offer. You can go to our website and find all the details mentioned in this week's podcast at www.lowseasontraveller.com. And remember, travelling is better without the crowds.